Thanks so much for joining us today. We're talking with the readers, healers, and vendors that are going to be at the BEPC Conscious Wellness Expo on Saturday, July 22 from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. There'll be somewhere between 75 and maybe 110 of us. So we want to share with you who we are and what we're going to be making available to you at the expo. So today I'm chatting with Lois Gaylord. She's one of our vendors. So Lois, tell us about what you're going to be sharing at the expo.
I make spiritually related textiles. I hand dye cloth, commercially woven cloth, and then print it with a variety of different symbols from across a variety of different traditions, cultures, and traditions. So I make some small altar cloths and for your personal altar space. I make bags for your tarot cards. I've got some bags. I just have some new padded bags for crystal wands. And I have some other wand bags. And I've got a couple wall pieces. So that's sort of the kind of general topic of, things of what I make. And I have some samples back here, which I can bring over too. So.
Yeah, that's great. Why don't you go get some of your samples? I'm curious to see them.
Hang on a second.
Sure.
So this is one of the newer pieces. It's it's about 9 by 15 inches or 7 or 8. I don't know. Anyway, it has the chakra symbols on it. So if I get it over.
That's beautiful. And so that's
here in the light, and it's a small linen cloth.
And what is the dyeing that you've done around the edges?
Yeah, it started out white. I print the design onto it, and then I set the ink, and then I'm taking the different colors of dye, and I put a little dot of dye of the different colors in each one. And before I do that, I put water around the outside. So that keeps the dye from bleeding out. And then after I've got the middle done, I go back and paint around the outside of it and I'm using fiber reactive dyes. So they're very permanent.
And so is it bleeding into the water? Is that what's?
Yeah, so what happens is that the dye starts to bleed into it, but the water that's around it actually acts as a resist. So this is linen, and linen likes to wick, so it bleeds. And so where I put the color, it starts bleeding out. But where the water is, once the dye hits where it's wet, it goes, oh, okay, I can't go any farther. And so that's what's happening on this one.
Okay, wow. I'm so used to fabric being more of the water base, and then but so it sounds like the dye is really more of an oil base, and the linen is.
No, the dye is water base.
Okay.
Yeah, the ink is a acrylic ink, this one's metallic acrylic ink, and so I put that on there first, and then I go back in and paint the dye. So so you can still see where the ink is.
Wow.
On this one, I did all the dye work first. See if I can.
No, I think just close up to the camera. Yeah, we can see it. Don't worry about the light.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this one has the Kabbalah Tree of Life glyph on it. So I've got the chakra symbols, I've got the Kabbalah Tree of Life. And then I have this size, and this is about, the image is 9 inches in diameter. And so this is the Flower of Life design, which is quite popular for doing crystal gridding, to set up a crystal grid.
That's what looked familiar to me. And I know, and people are selling stones there too, so they could get a fabric from you and they could get stones and make their own things.
So yeah, so this one works. It really nice. I have this in this design on a couple of sizes. I also have a really small version of this. And so then this is one of the bags for tarot cards. And I like this design because it has the flap over the top and then it ties in the back. So when you untie this, it's like it really kind of, I think, really encloses the cards more. And so this is, your most basic deck. But so the box fits, so it fits in that. And then So this is another one of the designs that I've done for a tarot bag. So it's got the Om symbol on one side and the yin yang on the other. And so, yeah, and so the one with the cats, we got the little sleep. It's kind of hard to see this one. It's like kind of a little sleeping cat. And then on the other side is a version of Bast. So this one's a little harder to see with the light on it. And then this is one of the bags that I just started making that has, it's padded, and it has a padded, and lining. So here's one of those selenite wands. So it fits in there. And so this one has, the same version of the chakra symbols on it. So this is, so it's hand-dyed raw silk with this raw silk lining. It has a cotton batting in it that, so it makes it, soft and padded. You could lay this on the table and, use this to put, to set, a wand on, crystal wand on for healing sessions and that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's beautiful for display as well as practical for carrying.
So, yeah, I mean, and this is probably, it's about, I think, 8 or 9 inches tall. So, it'll fit. You can obviously put a small one in there, but you can put, a little bit, it'll fit a bigger one. And then the last piece I've got to show is this larger chakra wall hanging. So this is about 30 or almost, it's a little over 3 feet tall and about 1 foot wide.
Yeah, it's big.
So this was done in the same technique as the little one, but I have larger, so that each one of the symbols on these are just under about 3 inches in diameter. So
that's great.
Yeah.
I'm curious, how did you get interested in working with fabric?
I've got a bachelor's degree in textile design from the University of Washington from a long time ago. So when I was a kid, I got a looper loom and, was making looper pot holders and wanted to, I learned how to sew and embroider when I was a child, when I was young. And I have always been interested in textiles. And so I've got, I took a weaving course after I got out of community college when I was in my early 20s. And then I moved up here and got the degree in textile design from the University of Washington. And that's where I learned about dyeing and printing on fabric. And probably about 3, 4, 5 years ago, I took it was actually about 6 or 7 years ago. I took the Fiber Arts Certificate program at the University of Washington, and I like to say that was the proverbial kick in the rear that I needed to get working again. And then a few years later, I did another program called EDGE, which is a artist professional development course, which was the second proverbial kick that I needed to start getting my work out. And I came up with the name of Weaving Oneness when I decided to really start focusing more on the spiritually related textiles, because that spirituality and my art are the things, I realized that when I was doing the certificate program, that spirituality was really the thing that was most compelling to me, and being able to put the things that I learned and my experiences and all of those things into my work, that was what really was, my passion and what I really wanted to do. And so when I did, so when I found out about, or anyway, I was trying to think, when I started the Weaving Oneness thing, I had done a workshop on reclaiming the divine feminine, and in deep meditation, one of the goddess images kind of came, it was this deep meditation to talk to the divine feminine. And I got the message from her in that meditation to weave my oneness. And I'm like, so how's that? And so then I came up with this idea, so I was like, okay, I wanted to do, started doing tarot card bags and that, and, maybe like, okay, some altar claws. And I, got the idea that, weaving oneness, that really, it sums up my kind of my life purpose, and what I really want to do. And so it's, yeah, it's like I also have a Jewish background, and there is a phrase in Judaism called tikkun olam, which means to heal the world. And so that's how I feel like what I'm doing with my work is this is how I am participating in my form of tikkun olam, my form of healing the world, where, I make beautiful cloths, beautiful textiles and cloths that have a spiritual purpose or, meaning, and that this work can help people connect with source however they perceive it in in their own way. And that's one of the reasons I like to use a variety of imagery, so that it connects with people with their pathway and their tradition.
Yeah, whatever is personal to them.
As really kind of definitely in a sense of service to life, the universe, and everything.
That's great. And is there a tip that you'd like to share with everyone before we end?
Yeah, let's see. I was trying to think of a good tip, and probably one of my favorite tips is that, I'll leave spiritual tips, to other people, but on a real practical level, that there's one thing because I use a lot of linen and silk, and, it's like if you buy silk clothing, there are some things that definitely need to be dry cleaned. If it's a structured garment like a tailored jacket or something like that, you would want to have it dry cleaned. But if you're buying like a silk blouse or something like that, you may not and it says dry clean only. The thing to do is like take a Q-tip, or a white cotton cloth, and get the corner of it wet. And then like on the inside, on the seam or on the hem, rub it and see if any color comes off. And if the color comes off, then you're like, okay, the dyes aren't set, they're not permanent, and then you'd probably most likely want to dry clean it. But if it's like that, like that thin silk or raw silk or something like that, you can, and the color doesn't come off, you can probably most safely hand wash it and let it drip dry. So, if you spill something on it, you get a stain on it, you probably want to take it to the cleaners to get the stain out. But if it's just general wear, perspiration or something like that, you can often hand wash your silk clothing.
That's great. I appreciate the very practical tip and so related to your field, and what a sweet idea of using a little Q-tip and some sort of cotton swab in a small place that's hidden. That's great.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. I look forward to seeing all of your work at the expo, and I hope
I'm looking forward to it.
Great. I hope everyone joins us at the BEPC Conscious Wellness Expo, July 22nd, and look for more of our videos from more of our readers, vendors, and healers. Thank you.
Thanks.